In this video, I was going to talk about, and I have to stress this highly, this is an opinion of mine, solely an opinion, and I don't hold the, I'm not the authority on this opinion. It's just simply from my point of view. And you're certainly entitled to disagree with it, but this is the way that I see this particular issue. I was gonna talk about the cultures, like or the subcultures and pop culture, and one of the things to that is like you hear a lot that I refer to myself as a homosexual male. You very rarely ever hear me say gay. To me, gay is it's not necessarily a counterculture, but it's a culture. It's like a clique. It's kind of like a lifestyle, I guess. To me, like, I'm just a guy that's homosexual. I don't lead this lifestyle that is apparently a thing. I identify with the gothic counterculture. Let me tell you a little bit about my background growing up. When I was a kid, I was always interested in the macabre. Like, even when I was very, very young, I had Edgar Allan Poe read to me. I've always been a big fan of Edgar Allan Poe since I was really young. Also, another thing, when I was a kid, one of my favorite movies to watch, it was an animated feature about the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, more based off of Washington Irving's Legend of Sleepy Hollow, not the Disney version Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Not the same. It literally was like more based off of the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. You had the ghost that lived in the woods that went because she froze to death in there. It was a very dark cartoon. I also really liked The Last Unicorn. If you've ever seen that, you know that's not necessarily a very uplifting film. It's actually kind of depressing. It's got a lot of things that really kind of made me think and analyze the world around me when I watched it as a kid. This is a great movie. I still watch it. I only own it on VHS, though. I do have a conversion to convert VHS to DVD. I can't figure out how to get the damn thing to fucking work, though. I mean, it says it's doing it, it says it records it, and then it finalizes it, and I try to play the DVD in something, and it's like, I don't know what this is. I haven't found, like, a thing that'll read it. So I haven't figured out the DVD converter yet. I've had it for quite some time already. Before I even go further on this matter, even my family, like, to add to this, my past, even my family admitted to me at the last Thanksgiving dinner that we had that I've always kind of been into dark stuff. I mean, it's not a new thing for me. It's something that's always kind of called to me. And you know, I didn't know what the gothic community was until later on in life, but man, when I found it, I immediately identified with it. At first, I was listening to, I mean, I was raised by hippies and kind of grew up and hung out with punks. But, like, when I found, like, the goth community, I was listening to what mainstream was calling goth, which would be like, Marilyn Manson, Nine Inch Nails, and KMFDM, Ministry, 16 Volt, stuff like that. And they're dark. They've got some dark aspects to them, and I like the dark aspects, but the thing that I didn't like is that, like, I don't feel akin to the anger. That I don't feel akin to that anger. When I found the Gothic community, I realized that they had that dark mentality, but they weren't angry. It was just depressing, and that's kind of the realm that I existed in, and especially having bipolar type 2 depression, which is bipolar depression. It spoke volumes to me, and actually a lot of what the Gothic artists did in the goth community deeply resembled the artwork and poetry that I was already doing, which, a lot of Gothic work has to do with the macabre, spirituality, but a lot of the people in the goth community, as myself, are nihilistic atheists. You can find Christian religious people in the goth community, but I would say it's predominantly anti-theistic. There's a lot of nihilism to it. So, a lot of atheists there, which, again, I identified with. And then there, I sunk into the goth community, and I was like, yeah, this is it. This is it. This describes me. This is where I belong. And, I do write a lot about supernatural stuff, but if you look beyond the supernatural stuff and look between the lines, there's actually a lot of metaphor that goes into Gothic writing. Like, if you look at Lord Byron, he had a book about how a demon was chasing him. The entire book was actually about his homoerotic love for another male, and at that time that he existed, homosexuality could have gotten you killed. And, he wouldn't have been a homosexual that we would have viewed as homosexual today. He was a Gothic writer, and him and Mary Shelley and Percy Shelley, Dr. Polidori, they kind of ran in the Gothic romantic circle. Edgar Allan Poe, of course, is a Gothic romantic writer. I don't know that he hung out with Lord Byron, Dr. Polidori, and the Shelleys, but he certainly is a hallmark in the Gothic romantic movement. And there's also other Gothic romantic writers that existed in those times that were not affiliated with those people. But anyway, yeah, so I identify as a subculture, I identify as goth. It's, like I said, I've always been interested in dark things. I find them fascinating, and I don't know, I just like them. It's just my cup of tea, my personal taste, choice, and preference. So, but when I talk about the gay community, hold on just a second here. I got behind me. Full screen. What? Ooh. That's irritating. Full screen. I got this set up behind me here. And what that says at the very top is, gay pride, does it need to reinforce stereotypes? Well, that's an interesting question, and we have this picture here. I don't know if you can see that very well. You got like a bunch of men dancing around in underwear with a bunch of rainbow-colored balloons. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, I don't identify with that shit. I just don't. This is why I refer to myself as a, well, go. The fuck. Finally. So I don't identify with that shit. I went through a phase where I tried to fit into the gay community, and when you're talking about gay community, what I associate with is like the rainbow colors and, you know, like gay pride parades where people blow rainbow streamers and glitter and rainbow flags out of their butthole. There's a lot of diva pop involved, you know, Lady Gaga, Cher, Madonna's a big one. Lisa Lila Pinelli, I think that was who it is. I don't know, I'm not into it. Like, somebody forced me to listen to some of her music once. It's Lisa with a... What is it? Lisa with an S, not Z, because Z makes nuts. Or something, I don't know. That's not my cup of tea. But, I did try to fit into the gay community at one point, and I wore rainbow colors and carried a man purse. And I got like a techno album that was from Gay Pride. Ew. And I very quickly realized that even though I was dressing the part, I couldn't act the part. I got all these gay friends, and like, you know, like they would talk about something that was bothering them, or somebody that they had issues with, and I would make dark jokes like, well, we should leave a dead hooker on their doorstep. I think that would be really funny. Or send them an aborted fetus in the mail. You know, just jokes. I think they're funny. Like, I think it would... The mere concept of, like, somebody sending you a dead fetus in the mail, there's nothing that says, like, you would have to think to yourself, I did something that really pissed this person off. I mean, for them to go to the trouble of sending me an aborted fetus, or a dead fetus in the mail, that's pretty extreme. I find it funny. But, you know, I'd tell jokes like that to the people that I was friends with, and they'd be like, oh, that's horrible. I quickly learned I couldn't hide my true self, and so that's where I say that the gay scene is just that. It's a scene. And I've met many other gay guys that do not, or homosexuals really, that do not fall into the gay stereotype. There's nothing, like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be like the gay stereotype, that you shouldn't watch Lifetime television and the Golden Girls and Sex and the City and movies like Julia and Julie and Julia, Devil Wears Prada. Trying to think of like other like really feministic things that these gay guys like. I'm not into it. I like horror. My favorite genre of horror, by the way, is ghosts. I like ghost films. I actually like the Harry Potter movies. I don't think you could definitively say that they're gothic, but I think watching them, you can definitely see how the goth crowd is attracted to them. Big fan of Tim Burton. I mean, I see people ripping on his Batmans, but it's like, pretty gothic Batman. I kind of like it. It was better than what came after he did his two Batmans. Freaking Jim Carrey as the Riddler, that was bullshit. At least Tim Burton got Danny DeVito and I can't think of her name, but you know, the Penguin and Catwoman, that was really well done. I think he picked some good actors for that. But anyway, so yeah, you know, I don't identify with Lifetime television. I don't identify with the Golden Girls. I don't identify with the rainbow colors and diva pop and all that. I identify with darker things, and like I said, I've met other homosexual guys that are similar in that they don't really fit into the gay scene, because they don't really particularly pertain to those things either. I actually know a Rivet head that's a homosexual, so I mean, I also, like I said before, I'm not really into the femme thing. I know I wear makeup, but you have to understand that's like a goth thing, and the purpose and point of wearing makeup in the goth community is not to look feminine. It's to look kind of dead. You know, it goes along with the whole like lack of sunlight, macabre, supernatural, dark stuff. I mean, that's Roz Williams, a great gothic artist. You know, he said, for what it's worth, I dress my tears in costumes, and I have come to rule the dark for light. He's one of my favorite goth artists. The lead singer of Christian Death. And that is something that I am into, is, you know, like, when I first saw the title Christian Death, I was like, fuck yeah. Little did I know that Roz Williams, when he named his band Christian Death, he named it after, to make fun of fashion, and it was a play on Christian Dior. But the band quickly became associated with anti-religion and actually had many protests against them from neo-Nazis and the KKK, because their whole thing was going against religious organizations that use religion for negative purposes. And you know, that is something that is definitely in the realm of goth, of like, oh, what a cruel world we live in. Well, part of the reason why it's so cruel is because of fucking religion. Valor took over the Christian Death band, and, well, the name, Roz Williams pretty much asked him nicely not to do that, and wasn't going to fill out copyright forms and all that, but Valor ended up taking it anyway. And Roz was, I guess, just kind of like, you shouldn't have done that. They did get back together, and they collaborated on a track on one of Valor's albums. There for a while, Roz Williams was producing albums under the title Christian Death alongside as well as Valor. So you had like almost two different bands releasing albums under the name of Christian Death, even though they really are kind of the same band. They got a complicated, strange history. But Guillotine Timon, the keyboardist and kind of female backup vocalist from Christian Death ended up leaving Christian Death when Balor took over after several albums, because she felt that it was, Roz Williams was a friend of hers, and she felt that it was unhonorable to do that she was kind of not being true to her friend Roz. So she left the band and started, well, she's always had her side project doing her own thing under, her name, Guillotine Timon. and she still makes music today. She lives in the Netherlands. She was born where she was originally here in the United States, but now she lives in the Netherlands. She still produces music under the name Guillotine Timon. Excuse me 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. But anyway, so, yeah, my movie collection that I like is horror genre. My favorite genre of the horror is ghosts. And I tell you the bands that I listen to, but it seems like a lot of people don't know what real goth is. A lot of times when people hear goth, they want to talk to me about Catatonia and death metal and Marilyn Manson and stuff like that. And I can hang with metal, I can. Like, I originally listened to that stuff before I found goth, but that is my favorite genre. Like, I really like the writing, the lyric writing that they do. I like the sound that they have. You're talking about bands like Advent Sleep, Wreckage, Ex Voto, Brotherhood of Pagans, Switchblade Symphony, Guillotine Timon, Christian Death, Shadow Project, which is another one of Roz Williams' projects, Gene Loves Jezebel, so their early work more especially, Susie and the Banshees, Bauhaus, The Cure, Mephisto Waltz, Denelli Dax, Skeletal Family, All About Eve, Incubus, Succubus. A lot of people, when they hear that name, they think that they know who that is, and it's like, no, not the band Incubus. They're called Incubus, Succubus, and they actually spell their name a little bit different. I like some of Specimen stuff, some of them. Sorry. I'm a misbehaving cat. But, there's really quite a lot of gothic bands out there. You have Big Electric Cat, Nosferatu, and you have Susie Sue from Susie and the Banshee and her husband. They created a band side project called The Creatures. And usually, it's very dark, eerie sounding stuff. You have got like a lot of development in the gothic scene. There's different aspects of goth. You have kind of more classical goth that sounds like something, well, and actually some of their stuff is remakes from 16th century stuff, like Dead Can Dance, and Black Tape for a Blue Girl. Those are kind of like ethereal goth, I think is what they call it, or dark cabaret. You have like acoustic goths, like or positive goths is what some call them, like Voltaire and Rasputina. But I think you get the point that I'm driving at. So the rainbows and all that sort of stuff, and like, I mean, I just don't identify with it. I don't. It's too poppy. It's too happy. It's too glee. It's just so like, I don't know. It seems like that scene is just all about like butt sex or something. And to be quite honest, like, this may come as a shock to some people, but not all gay guys are into anal sex. It's true. Really, even for homosexual males, heterosexual people, anal sex is really almost more of a fetish. You know, and granted, in the homosexual world, it's a highly used fetish, but not all gay guys want anything going into their ass, and nor do they want to put their penis in anyone's ass. That's not the case all the time. There are gay guys out there that don't want that, and they usually engage in what's called fraught homosexuality, which is basically genital-on-genital contact, dry humping, blowjobs, mutual masturbation, that kind of stuff. I'm not one of those. I'm okay with anal sex. It doesn't bother me either way. But that doesn't mean that I feel like I need to act feminine. I'm nothing against femininity, but it's just not my cup of tea. Like I said, this is extremely opinionated. Like, this is just my opinion. Just my take on the situation, the way that I personally feel. I don't expect anyone else to feel that way or conform or anything like that. I just thought I would put it out there as, you know, this is my stance. This is my standpoint on it. You know, like, I do get called, like, gay, and, you know, like, that is a thing, and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll answer to that, but I personally prefer the word homosexual because I feel that gay is a culture. And if I'm going to be associated with a culture, I would rather be associated to the goth culture and be thought of as a goth guy that's homosexual. That's just my take on it. I would love to put some gothic music in here, but it too is copyrighted, and as I explained before, like, I have no problem with a third or second party monetizing the video for me, but when that happens, there are people in certain countries that cannot view the video. I don't know why. Usually my German friends, they can't view a video if I put a gothic song in, and I don't understand that, because a lot of it comes from the UK. I don't get that. But another thing with fucking YouTube, YouTube is like trying to force me to get AdSense, and I don't know what the deal with that is. Like, when I'm making videos now, it's just popping up like, get an AdSense account. And I've been like, okay, I'll try. I've done it. Like, did their little thing. Well, every time I click save and continue on the second part to get to filling out your information, it just stops there. Like, it doesn't do anything. So I don't know what the deal with that is. Like, I mean, I don't get paid for these videos, so I mean, like, if I could get the AdSense account, yeah, sure, that would be cool. I don't think I have enough views to really do anything with that. But I don't know why they're, like, with that even being said, why they're trying to force me to get AdSense. It's really fucking bizarre. I don't get it. But, I'm going to conclude that video. I'm going to try and get a video out of a poetry reading. Like I said, I'm going to make it less theatrical this time. Choose a different poem, too. Somebody wanted, I want to figure out how to get some subtitles put into it, and I'm not sure how exactly that's gonna work, given the software program that I have. I'll do my best. See what I can come up with. Have a gloomy gothic day.